It's Fayd. So my video about this patch sucked, so I'm just going to remake it. I was really pissed off and didn't research it as well as I should have. Don't really have a good excuse for that, except that I was really angry at the game and the devs, and I still am really angry at the game and at the devs. But I actually did my homework, so this is that. This is the Cell Merchant. He's just left to the spawn. I'm going to go over everything he does right now, and then I'm going to rant for a while, so you can leave when I start ranting if you so choose. But I think I make some good points, so there's that. When you first open the Cell Merchant, you're going to see these 3 cells up top. This is the only merchant-y part of the Cell Merchant. Basically, you can sell your cells, salvage them, whatever, for Aether Dust. And it's 10 for green, 20 for a blue, 40 for a purple. The only time you should ever buy these, ignore the fact that I bought them, just do as I say, not as I do, is if you really need one of them. Otherwise, don't do it. It's terrible. Only good if you really need one. If you have a +2 Rage Hunter and you really need another +2 Rage Hunter, you can get this and make a +3 Rage Hunter. But it's not worth it if you don't need it, or if you have it, like if you're not close already. Like if this purple cell isn't really good, don't get it. Not worth it. End of story. I could go into why, but it would take too much time, and I'm not going to. Just straight up, trust me, not worth it unless you absolutely have to have that one cell. So now I'm going to talk about the cell fusing, and this thing explains it pretty well. So I'm just going to read it. 2 random +1 cells will give you an equally random +2 cell as a result. 2 identical +1 cells will give you a +2 cell of that exact type, and 2 +1 cells from the same family, power, utility, etc., will produce a random +2 cell from that family. This also holds true for +2 cells. If you replace +2 or +1 with +2 and then +2 with +3, the sentence reads exactly the same way, okay? And it's true. If you want to reroll a +3 cell, you can do that. You can take a +3 cell and pay 2,000 notes and wait 72 hours, and you'll get a random +3 cell. So there you go. Now, on to how to make this faster. Excuse me. You use ace chips. At the moment, each ace chip is worth approximately 2 platinum. At the lowest exchange rate that you can have, well, I should say the highest exchange rate, the lowest amount that you can buy. And each ace chip is worth 1 hour. Right here. So I need 37 to finish this, because I have 37, well, I have 36 hours and some change left. And that's why it's 37 ace chips. The lowest amount of ace chips you can get is 50 for 100 plat, right here. This converts into approximately a $1.66, $1.67 to combine 2 greens and finish instantly. $3.33, something like that, to finish 2 blues instantly, or $5 to reroll a purple instantly, on top of the 2,000 notes. You obviously can't buy them in those exact amounts. That's just me telling you how much it would be costing you, theoretically, if you were to do that. Now I'm going to start with the ranting a little bit. So I will say that I've been told that these are going to be farmable. It makes sense that they are going to be farmable, or else they're just a direct platinum conversion. But that being said, I was told it was like in the patch notes, blah, blah, blah. It's not. There's nothing about it in the roadmap. There's nothing about it in this crap. There's nothing about it where they actually talk about this vendor. Excuse me. There's nothing about it in the patch notes. I looked. I read all of these. Even before I made my video, I read all of this. And I was willing to admit that I might have missed something, but I didn't. So, yeah. It might have been a tweet. It might have been a dev stream. But I don't have that stuff. I don't watch dev streams, and I don't use Twitter or look at Twitter. So, there you go. If somebody has that information and the source, I would be glad to see it. But I'm guessing that they don't give an exact timeline, and I'm guessing it's going to take a while, because they did tell us that they would be releasing things as they were finished, and that means that in their mind, this is finished. They're happy with this, and that means that this, until they release a farmable like source of ace chips, is what we're stuck with. It's pay to win, basically. It would take me approximately 200 days to roll all my cells into purple cells without using ace chips. And if I wanted to do that with money, it would be like $50 or something. So, yeah. Kind of lame, in my opinion. Not that that's a ton of money, but I don't have money right now. And just because it is money and there's no way to farm it, it is pay to win. Because cells are the most important part of this game. So, yeah. There you go. Feels like a money grab. They put this in without having a way to farm it, which means that you have to spend money to do it. Hence pay to win, hence money grab. And if they had put the farmable stuff in, like the way to farm it right away, that means they would have made less money. That's a fact of life. That's a business strategy. It's what games sometimes do to make money. And that's what they did, I think. And we could be waiting a very long time to see them put in the farmable ace chips. I just don't see it happening in a very, very short period of time. So now on to my other rant, and that is about the like, if you fail a hunt, you keep your break parts. I hate this idea. So the basic reason why games are fun, okay, is they give you a sense of accomplishment. They elicit like an emotional response, and that can come from anything. It can come from like the catharsis that you feel, right, when you're playing a gacha game and you spend those things you've been saving up forever and you get that thing that you wanted, right? And you're just like, oh, thank God I got it. Or it can come from a shooting game, like Counter-Strike, where you were doing better than other people and that competitiveness feels good, right? Or it can come from like Dauntless, where you beat a hunt that you've been trying to beat for a while and it just felt really good. Those rewards that you earned felt like they were worth it, right? At least you would hope. Now, those rewards are greatly devalued. So, what most games aim to do, or I should say what basically all games aim to do, is to make the wins feel better than the losses feel bad, if that makes sense. So they try to mitigate the negative feelings of the losses and try to enhance the positive feelings of the wins. Or they just try to make them at least balanced. In Dauntless, they were balanced to some extent. If you won a hunt, you got all the rewards. If you lost, you didn't get any rewards. But eventually, if you worked hard enough, you would start winning a lot more. So it evened out. Now, it's more like if you fail, you still get the best rewards. And if you win, you just get some extra. Which means losing doesn't feel as bad, but winning doesn't feel as good either. And winning was already starting to feel a little bit boring in this game for someone that's played it a long time. I just didn't really give a shit if I won anymore. But now it's like I really don't care. There's absolutely no reason for me to care. Because, like, I mean, yeah, you saw my 8K notes. I'm a poor boy. But that's because I've spent probably a couple million notes or something in that range just taking out cells and testing builds. Right? I mean, it's not like I need the break parts, right? But it still felt good to get them. I mean, I as you can see, I could scroll this for a little while, okay? And it's... So, yeah, I just feel like they completely devalued winning, and it also leads to some possible toxic gameplay. If you need a corrupted dark tail from Shroud, purple Shroud tail drop, you can just go in there, break the tail. If you don't get it, you leave. Go in there, break the tail. You get it this time. You throw the hunt so that your team loses, and then you can walk out earlier. Okay? Yeah. So as far as constructive feedback on this update, I would say that if you have to implement some sort of system where people can keep break parts, make it require that they do something extraordinary. in the hunt. For instance, you have to have a gold Slayer medal to keep your break parts. And gold Slayer medals are relative, so I mean, you could get a gold Slayer medal as long as you're keeping up with the pack for the most part. And that's not that hard. I think that would still be a little bit like lame in my opinion. Like, I think it'd be too easy, but that's like the best thing. Like, maybe if you get like close to what would have been like an S rating in the hunt, but you lose anyway, you know, like that close loss, then maybe, yeah, you can keep some break parts. But I don't think it's fine for someone to just be able to run in with a weapon and spam health pots and left click until something breaks, then die and keep the break parts, because they're just going to be able to freeform anything they want with absolutely no gameplay. You could bot that, literally. It'd be super easy. The other thing that comes to mind is that when new behemoths are released, there's almost like a prestige involved in killing them early on. And this isn't a prestige that I'm saying like people look at you and they're like, oh my god, dude, you got Koshai armor, you know, like for instance. It's more like it feels as if I accomplished something for myself, like internally when I do that. Like with Koshai, like I went and banged my head against a wall, and a lot of better players said it wasn't even worth it because he was such a pain in the ass early on, which he really was a pain in the ass early on, and I don't think it was really worth it, but it felt good to do, right? And to finally win, to finally be able to do it consistently and farm it the hard way, so to speak. If that happens again now, there's not going to be any feeling of success. It's like I'm going to have a full set of armor before I even manage to kill the thing by myself in a solo. You know? You solo something for an hour to figure out how to do it. I don't want to tell you how many times I've died trying to learn how to solo hunts. You know? And each one of those deaths would have just given me gear because I usually get a few breaks. Even on my first try in a hunt, I usually get a couple breaks at least. It's completely ridiculous that I would have been rewarded for that when my reward is actually winning it later on. On top of that, when you're looking for groups to do things, like I've never actually done this, but oftentimes you see in chat, or used to, whenever something new comes out, it's very common to see this, looking for experienced players to do Koshai, let's say. And the way you used to judge that was by like if they actually had the gear. If they had the gear, then you knew they kind of knew what they were doing. But if they didn't have the gear, then you would be like, have you beaten this yet? And they're like, yeah, or I've come close like 3 times, or, you know, whatever. And I've joined parties where people were asking for that before. That's how I know this, just because I was like, whatever, it's better than doing random MM. But I never really cared if the people had the gear. That being said, it's still nice to be able to look at someone and think they earned that, right? As opposed to looking at them and thinking they probably just cheesed to get that. Like, this guy, his Koshai gloves, for all I know, he ran in and suicided Koshai to get them, right? I mean, he didn't. I've seen him around before, but, like, for all I know, right? Like, if he was some random. And that's kind of aggravating, I suppose. So, yeah, that's my rant. Peace out.